All right. We got control your temper. Control your temper. Temper serves a purpose, but it should be controlled. Understand what is happening and why. Listen to what is being said and why. React to every situation by using constructive logic. Do not allow yourself to be provoked into doing or saying anything that you are likely to regret doing or saying. Do not hit, curse, or name call any person who seems to be trying to provoke and or trick you into doing or saying something that you will regret. Be prepared and be alert for temper provoking traps. Do your best to be calm and methodical in doing what is most constructive in stressful situations. Practice making plans on how best to speak and or act in stress provoking situations. Codify everything to do and not to do in hostile situations. Suggestions: 1. Avoid making statements. Ask questions. Be courteous. Make a record of what the other person said. Study each word of that record. 4. Avoid putting anything in writing and giving it to others unless required to do so after you receive remarks in writing from those others. 5. When required to respond to accusations against you and to do so in writing, start by writing something similar to the following. In order to best promote the production of justice, balance between people, I hereby request that an inquiry and or investigation be made of all the facts directly or indirectly associated with the matters in question, and that this be done according to all the correct procedures necessary to guarantee the same protection needed to all who have the duty to produce justice. 6. Always be willing to say that you are a person who intends to do your best to replace non justice with justice, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person who needs the most help gets the most constructive help. 7. When speaking and or writing with the intention of producing justice, avoid making statements that include any specific accusations. Practice asking questions, if necessary, many questions. Also, always do so with the intention of receiving logical and constructive answers about the best way to produce justice and or correctness. Avoid excess. Avoid acquiring things that you must serve more than they will serve you. Avoid being possessed by the things in your possession. Do not worship the toys that you or others possess. When a person spends too much time and energy arranging, cleaning, counting, repairing, and or protecting his or her material possessions, he or she will have too little time and energy for anything else. Too little time and energy would be used to think, speak, and or act to eliminate racism and produce justice. All material possessions should be used to eliminate racism and or to produce justice. In a known universe, dominated by racism and by other injustices, no time, energy, and or material possessions should be used for any other purpose. Yeah. Drink all stop. So, all right. Let's roll. Part 4, The Dark Side of the Constitution. Part 4. Question 17. Why did the Founding Fathers use ambiguous terms to refer to blacks in the U.S. Constitution? Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, the primary drafters of the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights, had no intentions of providing freedom and the blessings of liberty to black people. They sanctioned, codified, and institutionalized black slavery into this nation's founding documents. Jefferson, Madison, and other drafters of the Constitution carefully avoided using the words slaves, Negroes, or blacks. They intentionally used broad and ambiguous terms to disguise and minimize debate about the caste system they were creating. Moreover, they wanted to avoid leaving fingerprints in those documents that specifically identify the human beings who would be enslaved, dehumanized, exploited, crippled, and killed. So they agreed to use broad euphemisms to distinguish white European immigrants who would be granted rights and opportunities from the millions of blacks who were being imported into lifetime of enslavement and suffering. The dictionary definition of euphemism is substitution of a mild, indirect, or vague expression from one thought, to be offensive, harsh, or blunt. When writing about blacks or aspects of slavery, the founders used euphemisms such as those who are bound, those who are indebted, those in servitude, those who are bonded, such persons, all other persons, that unhappy lot, and that species of property. When a particular constitutional provision applied to blacks only, sometimes the founders use another obfuscating technique. Instead of saying the provision applied to blacks, they listed all of the groups to whom the provision did not apply. When referring to European whites, the founders use broad but different terms such as we the people, all the people, free person, immigrants, and American citizens. Jefferson, Madison, and the other framers spent the first week of the Philadelphia Convention discussing the necessity of the caste system they were putting in place legally and the importance of choosing language to obfuscate their intentions. The framers also wanted blacks and slavery obscured to avoid looking like hypocrites while preaching freedom, democracy, and equal justice to the rest of the world. But they were convinced that this nation could only develop and prosper with free black labor which would be the heart and soul of the evolving nation. Therefore, the nation's most sacred documents, the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, were inspired and shaped by the notoriously inhumane institution in world history. To to the authors of this nation's founding documents, black slaves were an absolute necessity and also represented personal wealth, and the country's greatest natural resource, though never acknowledged in public documents.